Hello everyone, my name is Nick and welcome back once again to Project Prometheus. This ship here is called the Jebediah, and it is the very first ship that I ever built with my own design in From the Depths that was serious. And in today's video we're going to be doing something really special. I have since put hundreds of hours into this game. I built this I think at least 6 months ago. And today we're going to be doing quote unquote a refit of the Jebediah, but what we're really going to be doing is completely rebuilding this ship to be the new human fleet battleship for Project Prometheus. That is going to involve a complete overhaul. So I call it a refit, but really it's not, because we are going to do an entirely new hull. We're going to do new guns, both primary and secondary, a much better sensor array, and just a general overhaul of this ship. So originally when I started Project Prometheus, the battleship cost limit, I think it was 300k. It is now 475k materials. We're also going to bring this up to speed because it is currently only 269, which is severely under budget. And then we're going to pit old Jebediah against new Jebediah and see how much better have my building skills gotten since I started playing this game. So first things first, we need to figure out where we started to know just how much progress we made. So this is the original Jebediah, dubbed the Jebediah Mark II because I actually had a ship called the Jebediah way back when I was first learning the game. But anyway, this ship is 269k material cost. It has 3 main guns and 8 secondaries, which is kind of a lot. This is the only Project Prometheus ship at this time that I've built that uses cram weapons, and it's only because these are cram, like I literally just took them from the depths pre-built objects and stuck them on the deck, which is horrible. Also, these turrets. So you'll notice this one, it's pretty poorly built. It's the entire interior of this ship is very poorly built. And then this one, I just put it up on a pedestal, which again, this entire turret well could be, auto loaders and ammo intakes and yada, 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 whatever. These main guns, I'll just check on the stats here, but I believe, let's see, 402 millimeter, 4 barrel, and there are 3 of them. As for the cram cannons, they are 1000 millimeter and... yeah, I mean, these are the Berthas, which are a prefab. We also have some simple weapons up here. Detection is very, very limited. And in terms of overall hull shape, I don't really know what I was doing here. It looks like I built the entire hull out of alloy, and then I took metal and added like an armor belt to the front area here, as well as to this area. But hey, honestly, it's been so long since I built this ship, I already see so many glaring problems with it, but that's how we learn, we experiment and see what works and doesn't so we can get better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to list out a few of the mistakes that we made with this ship, and we are going to take them and improve them in the new Jebediah. Alright, so let's talk about some of the mistakes that this ship makes. And again, I want to be, encouraging if you're a new player. Like, everybody makes garbage at first. This is complete garbage, and I will probably make the new ship complete garbage as well. It's just part of the game. The first biggest mistake here is the guns. All of them. They are all incredibly inefficient for several reasons. The first of which is this. First of all, these turret wells are not fully developed. As you can see here, they don't extend down into the ship. And we also didn't use the full depth of the ship to make the turrets as big as possible, and then put the turrets like spinners on the keel down here at the bottom. You can see that even worse with this second turret. There's a block of heavy armor here for seemingly no reason. And then of course these cannons are just mounted directly to the deck, which is not good. Simple weapons are also kind of a waste of money, I have found. So we're going to be removing most of them. The one thing we might keep is the AA guns. Another pretty big mistake I made here is hull design. There's a few problems with it, one of which is not a good armor scheme. In order to have a good armor scheme, you need to be able to stop explosive small caliber attacks as well as armor penetrating attacks, especially in a battleship like this. And overall hull shape also could use improvement, so I think we're going to completely change the hull shape. And finally, well, second to last actually, the steam engine, the propulsion system. We won't spend too much time on it, but it is grossly inefficient. It is not really optimized at all, and it's very vulnerable to being attacked. Final thing I want to improve is the sensor array. While this is okay, it's not really good. I've learned that you need a 360 degree sensor like this radar to kind of spot targets, and then you use gimbaled tracker sensors to keep your eye on those targets. So without further ado, let's get to building the new and improved Jebediah class battleship. There were a lot of major improvements made between the Jebediah Mark II and the Jebediah Mark III. The first thing that I did when building the new Jebediah is built an entirely new hull. So I started out by laying out the lengthwise dimension of this hull, and then I decided on a sort of tumble home shape for the hull. And one of the reasons for this is because one of my most successful ships, the Barracuda, uses a straight bow at the front, and this is exceptionally good at deflecting projectiles and good for armor as well. Then I went about laying out the positions for the guns. You'll notice that I initially lay out actually 5 gun positions, but the final ship only has 3 guns. I then used a much more advanced version of the steam engine, much better than anything I'd built before, and set up the propulsion at the rear. There's nothing too much to say about that. It's pretty similar to the propulsion systems on the original Jebediah. There's only so much improvement you can actually make. Then you can see I realized that the ship was going to be too short and I wanted more length in the hull, so I actually went and saved both the bow and stern as prefabs, split the ship in half, and gave it the limousine treatment. And then I went and finished the rest of the hull and got to work on the guns, decorations, and the armor scheme. But overall, this ship improves in almost every way on the original Jebediah. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here is the Jebediah Mark III, new and improved version of the original Jebediah class battleship. You'll notice immediately the hull is an entirely different shape, and I actually used transition blocks instead of just cubes. We have this tumble home style hull in the front, this nice taper. You see the 2 main guns here. We'll go over stats in just a second. I've also incorporated hydrofoils here. The front ones control pitch, those control roll, in order to help keep the ship steady. We then have our secondaries. There's this funky looking bulge in the center of the ship. I'll explain that in just a minute. And then we have the rear of the ship. You can see that is the main gun. Actually, it looks like there's something funny going on there. And originally, so the original plan, I actually said 4 before, but we intended to have no less than 5 main guns on this ship. One was intended to go right here, and another was intended to go right here. However, that was cost prohibitive because this is still Prometheus compliant. We have our simple weapons AA guns here. These are all CIWS systems, so I guess that's redundant, but they're CIWS cannons, and the idea is that they can intercept incoming projectiles. We have a more sophisticated sensor array, and just an overall much better looking ship. Now you'll notice I've actually spawned in the old Jebediah here to compare. These 2 crafts are relatively similar sizes. Initially, the third version, so the one on the right, was actually supposed to be smaller than its predecessor. But what ended up happening is I expanded it because I wanted to have room for these secondaries, but then I had to cut down on the number of main guns. So basically the lesson is budgets are the worst. And then we have the Jebediah Mark II over here, which also costs $269, whereas this ship costs, pretend that says $475 like it should. It's a little over because of decorations, but it's interesting that the ship isn't much bigger, but it's almost double the cost. So the lesson to be learned here is that even though this may look like a nice big battleship, it doesn't necessarily perform like one. So now, in true Project Prometheus fashion, we are going to pit this ship against the open ocean, other ships, and then its predecessor. So let's start with the sea trials. If this is your first time here, you might not know what I mean by sea trials. Around here, sea trials means let's make the waves as big as possible and see if the boat doesn't completely fail. So I've ordered the Jebediah to go forward here, and I've cranked the wave factor up significantly. These are not huge waves, but they are pretty big. Now, one big improvement that this ship has over a lot of my previous ships is its pitch and roll management systems. So thanks to hydrofoils, which I figured out when I built the Barracuda, this ship has ways for it to manage both its roll and its pitch. So you can see as it is traveling through the waves here, it's able to prevent itself from getting too off kilter in any one direction. It actually seems to be doing quite a good job. I think we have to crank up the waves. That is far too good. What is 1? I don't know if I've ever turned it all the way up to 1. Let's see. Oh yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. Okay. This is proper Aquilae Company sea trials. There she goes. Oh, we're gonna go submersible mode, aren't we? Yep. Under the water it goes. Go ahead, crest the wave, buddy. Oh, we've stopped. I think the propellers were out of the water there for a minute. Okay. Fully underwater. I guess it likes to be a submarine. Oh boy. Okay, so while the attitude of the ship is fine, it's not big, it's not like rolling or pitching any weird way, it does seem to have a bit of a problem with these getting put out of the water. Also ignore that I just put a box of armor around that. I got lazy. I'm sorry. Okay, well that is actually kind of a problem because it's, it's unable to move if the propellers are out of the water. Let's see if it picks it back up when this wave hits. Maybe. Oh, yep, there we go. We got our motion. And she's moving again. But even in the roughest of seas, the new Jebediah has, it seems, almost no chance of capsizing, which is more than can be said about some of our ships. I'm thinking of one in particular. Yes, it's this one. The Kerman class is the most flippy of all of my ships. So with the sea trials passed, it's time for the easiest of all of the Aquilae challenges. We're going to begin with the combat trials against Jacob's Treehouse. Okay, Deepwater Guard, let's go. Easy. Is it easy? I don't even remember. I hope so. No, Jacob's Folly. There it is, Jacob's Treehouse. Let the battle commence. Okay, I think we blew their... Yeah. Looks like the first hit yielded severe damage. Ooh, yeah. Now, in this case, even though it may not look like it, the Jacob's Treehouse might actually have a unique advantage against this ship because the main guns are designed to fight other battleships with thick armor. So on something like this that's made of wood, the shells might actually over-penetrate and just go straight through the thing. It seems like it's still losing pretty badly. And thanks to these secondaries, we're still putting a pretty good beating on it, looks like. Yeah. She's taking some pretty serious hits. And I don't think we're even harmed at all. Oh, there goes another thing. I love fighting the Jacob's Treehouse. It makes me feel so good about my designs. I see there's a little mark there. That's it. We are otherwise completely unscathed. I will probably make a version of this that was as I originally intended. without the cost limit because I think it would be glorious. So let's do repairs on this. That's a flying pass, of course. Now the second ship will be a little bit harder, but I think we will still win. The Iron Maiden. The Iron Maiden is something that I could not beat no matter what when I started playing this game, and now I've been able to beat it a few times. Let's see if the Jebediah can do it. Now this ship is designed to fight other battleships, metal battleships specifically, so we should expect to take some damage. But let's see what we got going on here. Haven't damaged their main guns yet. That's not good. But they have turned backwards to us, which is... Oh, and there goes one. Oh boy. So again, those main guns, they use armor-penetrating shells to really get, just like that, get all the way through the ship's armor and devastate its main guns. So even though the hull looks very nice and intact here, this ship is effectively incapacitated. You can see we've literally torn a hole straight through it. So while it may flee for a short while, it's not going to last. Oh, it does have missiles. I always forget. But hopefully our AA guns will take care of that. Yep, looks like they helped at least. This gun is just being a little confused. I have to add bounds to it. That's an administrative problem, but basically dead in the water here is the Iron Maiden. So rip Iron Maiden. I'm gonna go ahead and call that a win. Now it's time to get into the more fun experiments. So let's repair this, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is the Barracuda class cruiser. It is one of the scrappiest ships I've ever built, and probably my favorite. It only costs $150, and it falls into the light cruiser category for Project Prometheus. But this ship has some of the most kills in the entire Project Prometheus campaign. There's a few reasons for that. One of them is it is a very small but very thickly armored ship. It's kind of stout almost. It also has these very capable main guns, which are complemented by strong but not perfect secondaries, and a small AA battery here. You'll see the entire interior of this ship is completely thickly armored with heavy armor and, you know, just a lot of internal bulkheads. So these cost $150 each. The new Jebediah, pictured over there, costs $475. So I'm thinking we pit 3 of the Barracudas against the Jebediah, and we see what happens. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Let's see how it goes. First shots come off. I'm not seeing any... Oh, I see blocks flying over on that Barracuda. But I also see a few flying on our ship. Oh boy, yeah. It looks like... I mean, the Jebediah can take a lot of punishment now, especially from lighter ships like this. Oh yeah, okay. So this main battery's actually been destroyed. Both of them have. And it looks like that one is disabled. Those two appear to be having issues. Let's check in on this ship. This ship is relatively unharmed so far. Okay. And let's see how the Jebediah is doing. Oh, taking a lot of hits. But notably, all of the guns are still functioning, even though a hole has been torn in the hull. And that actually is a bit of an armor weak spot. I've been meaning to add additional reinforcement there. Is this ship destroyed? Oh yeah. Jeez. Took it out that quick. That's insane. Not this one. This one appears to be sinking, but it still has its main batteries. And what of you? You are in rough shape. Yeah. That one's not going to last much longer either. However, we have taken some pretty bad damage, worse than I thought. But it appears to be mostly just structural. Nothing functional. Honestly, this is the worst of it. I don't know how that even happened, man. Blew a hole clean in the side. Very strange. But again, thanks to the pitch and roll mechanisms, the Jebediah can right itself. Now this ship is disabled. What about you? You're just getting shredded here? Yeah. You have no way to fight back, and it seems this turret is not. Yeah. So let's just tell you to attack this guy. Maybe you can attack? Okay. Do I have to... Yeah, there it is. There it is. Alright, let's watch the Jebediah lay into this poor Barracuda. Oh, man. She's still fighting back. It won't last, I fear. Yeah, so one of the most important things I've learned about this game, and there goes the ammo, when you have a design that works, like the Barracuda, study why it works, figure out what's good about it. In this case, the Barracuda proves that while it is small for its class, it is very heavily armored, and rather than spreading its cost out across a large ship, it is just a concentrated little firecracker, basically. This thing got blown in half. Jeez. Okay, so let's do a damage report on the Jebediah before we do a final showdown here. Virtually no damage on the bow. Both front main guns still intact. These secondaries took damage, but functional. We have a lot of damage to this bulge there. Severe damage to the, what would this be, the port side bulge, but that's about it. Functionally, no damage. So now, the moment that you've all been waiting for. We are going to pit this ship against the original Jebediah Mark II. It is a rite of passage for all Project Prometheus ships. If you want to replace an old ship, the new one has to be able to beat it in combat. So let's go ahead and go all the way over here. Spawn this thing in, pause the game, and let them at each other. So here's the Mark II, Deepwater Guard. Let's call it a day. All right, the two Titans. It'll appear in a moment. There it is, facing off. Here we go. First shots come from the Mark III, but miss. Not seeing any confirmed hits. Okay, we have confirmed hits on both now. Looks like the Mark II is taking it a bit worse than the Mark III. Yep, the Berthas are already getting knocked out. Now, if everything works right with my close-in weapons defenses, those cram bullets should be able to be destroyed by the AA turrets. What are we shooting at here? Targeting that front main gun, I guess. Have we disabled their engines? Oh. Now see, that is a critical flaw exposed. What just happened is one of the armor-penetrating shells from the Mark III penetrated all the way to the center ammo reserve of this ship and destroyed it. Which means that once these guns fire the ammo that they have, they're done. Additionally, their engine is gone. It's been disabled. We hit it with our AP rounds. The boilers have been destroyed, or damaged at least. This ship, while not looking very damaged on the surface, is dead in the water within 10 seconds of starting the battle. That is pretty insane. Let's check out the Mark III here. Not seeing any damage. Oh, we actually lost a main gun. That's a pretty big deal. Oh wow, we took a pretty big hit to the front here. I'm surprised. I didn't think we took any damage, but it's not gonna last. Not at this rate. That is another thing that this ship does well does better. That's the word. Can't word today. Than its predecessor. The rounds coming out of the guns are a lot faster, so they're a lot harder to defend against. Oh man, it's not looking good for the Mark II, guys. She's a unique looking ship, but her purpose has been served. She will retire nobly. R.I.P. Jebediah Mark II. It was nice knowing you. You fought well. The AI menace has a new enemy in the Mark III. With that being said, I want to wrap this video up just by saying, if you are playing this game, or if you're watching these videos and you've never played this game, don't be afraid to just jump in and build something. You'll start with something that looks more like this, which is might look cool, like a battleship, might look kind of garbage in some ways, like this awful cube-looking shape. But just get started. Eventually you'll learn, you'll practice, you'll see the flaws, and you'll realize, I should build something more like this. And I'm sure the thing is, a lot of you are going to look at this ship and say, that ship is horrible too. And that's just part of the process. Games like this, the fun in it is building, learning, getting better. Now, we are still accepting ships for Project Prometheus, so if you want to be a part of the custom campaign that we're eventually going to be releasing, there is a set of rules in our Discord server for different classes of ships. Once you join, you'll be able to build ships that fit into those classes. So, for example, this is a battleship class, and then your ships could be included in the custom campaign or in future Project Prometheus videos. And I don't care how good or bad they are, I just want to see what you guys make. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I sure have learned a lot from you guys, and I still know that there is a ton more to learn. So keep leaving tips in the comments, keep telling me how to improve, and if there's anything else you want to see me do to the Jebediah, let me know. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.